Hi, and welcome to the video tutorial on how to create a content brief using Page Optimizer Pro, aka POP. First things first, log into POP, and then select the right project. In this case, this example will be on ignitesearch.com.au. So click on View Pages. And then to create a new page, you go to the top right-hand corner in New Page. Okay. Now, there is a streamlined setup process, but this video tutorial will be focused on the full setup. First things first, what is the main word or phrase? Now, this actually translates to the primary keyword on our side. So in this example, it is SEO web design. Okay, and click next. Language is English and target region is Australia. Please change where necessary. These two sections are part of a higher plan feature, so at this point in time, not available, but if it is, there will be notes on this one as well. Okay, so you click on next, and then now it's actually generating the competitors, right, based on the Google search results. Now, gives you two options here, right? To choose your own competitors or to allow POP to choose for you. So because we want full control, we will go next. So we will choose our own competitors. Now, these are based on the Google search results, right? And it says here, some results might be slightly out of order from a true local search. If it's not, then you can actually use the POP Chrome extension, okay? Now, for the purposes of this tutorial, we will assume that this is right, but if it isn't, then please do use the POP Chrome extension to assist. Now, have to choose at least 3 competitors. Now, there's 2 types of possible competitors that are out there. One that is exact competitor, meaning that it has the information that is relevant, but it also is relevant from a business standpoint. Okay, and then the second one is where it is relevant, but it is actually not as identical or relevant from a business standpoint. So, as an example, Search Engine Journal, right, may have content that is relevant, but Search Engine Journal itself as an entity is actually not an agency. It is actually a media publication site. So the content, right, would be structurally languaged differently to a landing page if it was actually on a marketing agency website. So the most important thing is that within your 3 competitors, you must choose at the very least one that would represent not only relevancy, but also the nature of the site, right? In which you are trying to create a landing page for, okay? So let's go down the list and we'll have a look and see. And we can actually assess these pages, okay? So some of them may be familiar to you, some of them are not. Okay, so you go there. Cool. If it helps, you can hold Control and hold on click, and that'll help to open things up a little bit faster. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look. So in this situation, you have SEOwebdesigns.com.au. Now, our keyword was actually SEO web design. So we know that this website, right, is a EMD or an exact match domain. So that probably features highly into the reason why it's ranking. So it might not be ranking particularly because of the content, but because of the EMD. So in this situation, right, we probably would avoid using this as one of the competitor that we want to actually focus on, right? So we'll scratch that out. SEJ, right? 5 ways SEO and design go together. This is fantastic content, okay? It might not be that relevant from a business point of view, but the content itself is definitely valuable. So we will say yes to this one, okay? Which is 5 ways, okay? Now, the next one, SEO and web design, everything you need to know. Okay, so this is another website that actually talks about developing SEO friendly websites, etc. Now, it's important that you checked that the information is also factually correct, relevant wise, because if it's not, right, then it might start to pick up words that might not be relevant to your business. Okay, so from a top impression point of view, and as part of the example, we will assume that this is actually all correct, and we will go through in, right? So take on that one. Okay. The next one is Webfx. So this is another academia slash content driven website that is actually not now part of a media, but it's actually part of a marketing agency. So this is interesting. So we will definitely include this as well. Okay. So yeah. So what we are now looking for is we're trying to find a page whereby it is actually talking about SEO design, SEO web design, right, as part of a service landing page. Now, we may or may not be able to find it because it's quite special, but if we can, that'll be fantastic. So this one looks like it possibly can. So if we go to here, what's SEO design? SEO design. Yep. So this one actually looks like it's quite like what we want. So it's actually a service landing page that's talking about SEO web design. So that's a yes for E-Link. So it's important that you try to find at least one where possible. Okay. And then you go down the list. Now you can pick as many as you want, right? So we're going to keep on going down. So we're going to have a look at this. Yep. Keyword's fine. Okay. So it looks good. So we're going to pick that too as well. Now, web creative. So you look at this page, right? Doesn't really showcase what we're talking about as in SEO web design. So we're going to skip that one. Okay. Most likely, again, because we have the word SEO and web in the domain, right? That's probably why POP picked it up. So we're going to skip that one. Okay, so I think we are pretty good. So we're going to continue now and go use selected competitors, which is these 5. Okay. Now, it actually gives you the opportunity to also add in more content. So you can do so if you wish. Cool. And now it's actually going to just check out the competition. And this will take a bit of time. Sometimes it does take up to 3 minutes. Sometimes it could only take maybe half a minute or a minute. So we'll wait for this to come through. Okay. So yeah, this tool is really quite powerful, and it was started by a person named Kyle Roof, which also happens to be an SEO consultant as well. So he has developed this tool for the industry. And it's very detailed. You'll see in a moment that it actually shows you a lot of information. Okay, so now it says here, select the competitors that you want to focus on for more detailed analysis. Now, remember the one that we talked about, which was the one that actually represents the marketing agency, which is E-Link Design. This would be typically what you want to choose, right? And actually, it even gives you instructions to say you will often want to select competitors that have sites like yours. So we'll pick E-Link Design, okay? And then you go next. And by the way, you can't pick more than one in this situation, right? It was pretty difficult to even find one, so we'll go with that. Now, this is asking you about details of the page that you want to optimize, okay? So if this page has an existing page, then you should actually put in the details here. In this example, in this situation, there is no SEO design page that is currently live. So we'll click here, haven't built this page yet. Give the page a name, right? You can give it any name you want. In this situation, we're just going to leave it as SEO web design. Cool. Click next. Okay, so now this comes to the part where it's asking about missing variations, right? That we want to add in, or existing variations listed here that we want to remove. Okay, so remember, variations are closely related key phrases, essentially here, synonyms, misspellings, and partial matches of a phrase. So if you actually go into the IA or the document that you are referring to, right, SEO web design, right, an example of a variation will be SEO website design. Okay, that's an example of one. An example of what is not a variation is how to design SEO-friendly website, because that has much more intent and meaning than SEO web design. Okay, so you have to make sure and you have to pick the right keywords that are true variations. Okay, so let's check here. So SEO website design. So we already included here. That's fantastic. That's great. Okay, so you go next. Now, LSI stands for latent semantic indexing terms. Okay, now as described here, they are contextual words, right? Now, typically speaking, in this section, they may be a bit of work that needs to be done from your end, depending on how many competitors you pick, because it's going to generate LSI terms, right, that will contain, in most cases, brands or people that have been mentioned in the content piece. As an example, right, remember that we chose E-Link Design as our focus competitor, right? As you can see, the very first LSI term was E-Link. But we know that E-Link is a brand, so we won't be talking about E-Link, or we don't want to talk about E-Link, so we will get rid of the word E-Link. Content, that's fine, that's generic. Marketing, fine. Page, fine. Manager, fine. So you go through this list and you figure out what you should or shouldn't actually add into it. For example, the hat, right? This hat word. Now, for someone who's not in the industry, hat may not mean much. In fact, it might even be irrelevant. But for us, we know what hat means. It could be mean as white hat or black hat, etc. So in that situation, we will keep that term in. Okay, search engines, mobile, example, advertisement, PPC, Google, social, important, page optimization, and audits, right? Advertisements, I'm not too sure about that, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then social, not so fine about that, so we can get rid of that, right? But the rest looks quite fine. Now, in terms of this, right, you can actually add your own LSI terms, and that's actually going back to the secondary keywords. So you can see here, right, there's a lot of different secondary keywords. So we're just going to add probably these ones, and this one, okay, and we'll add these ones. All right. So so SEO friendly design, how to design SEO friendly website, and then best SEO design. Okay, so we're gonna go to here, an example. So there's a few ways that you can do it. So you can either click like this and then delete backwards, right? Okay, or you can actually select and type in one by one. So okay, it's a little bit sensitive, so just take your time on this one. Okay. Yeah. And you can actually type one as well. So like, you can type ABC. So that's fine. Okay. So we're good with that one. All done. Right. So once we're finished, we go to submit. And it says here, we recommend removing cover brand names from this list, as mentioned. Submit. Okay. So once you hit submit, right, it is now actually generating the content brief. Fantastic. This is actually the majority of the first stage that is done. Okay, now once that is happening, right, you need to actually set up the 2 documents that are needed to create this content brief. Okay, so in the next video, right, you'll be shown how to actually create the 2 documents of the content brief. And the last step for this video is that you click on download report, right, and it will spit out an Excel document. Okay, all right, stay tuned to the next video.